joining us here at the venue and also online from all of the Asia-Pacific region. I am Seung-hoon, Director General of the Korea Foundation. It's my great honor and privilege to serve as the moderator of today's KF session. This session, exploring young generation's future in international exchange, has been designed as part of the first Asia-Pacific Young Leaders Forum Jeju and was prepared in collaboration with the Korea Foundation. As you all might agree, the significance of international exchange and global solidarity is increasing in light of the lessons from the pandemic and a dramatic transition into a high connected society. Under these environments, this session aims to assist the young generations as they navigate their future in international exchange through stories from experts in diverse sectors of international exchange from different countries. We'll hear about their career paths, the reason why they chose to be in this field, their best moment or best practice, and also their forecast on how the international exchange environment will change. And finally, some pieces of advice which they would like to share with the young generations and so on. So, okay, now I'd like to introduce the speakers with us today. Ms. HYUN Jinjoo, Manager of Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA. She's with us on site here.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. And next to her, Mr. NING, Program Officer at the Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat, TCS. He's next to her.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we also have two speakers joining us online. Ms. Geraldine Chin, hello, Head of Impact Networks at the Singapore International Foundation, and Mr. FUNAKI, Program Officer at the Japan Center for International Exchange. Okay, we have four speakers, and we are very lucky to have this diversity of promising experts as speakers today. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all of our speakers for taking very valuable time to be part of this session. Okay, now, let's begin today's program by listening to each speaker. Tell us about their position and major project of which they are in charge, as well as a brief introduction of their affiliation. Okay, Ms. Chin, over there, hi, hello. Could we begin with you, please? Ms.
Yes,
Chin?
hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay, please.
I'm Geraldine from the Singapore International Foundation. I'm really pleased to be here with everyone on this hybrid session. And what I do at the foundation is running a series of impact programs that look at young social entrepreneurship, as well as youth leadership and arts for good. So I'm happy to talk more about this later, and I look forward to our discussions.
Okay, then, thank you, Ms. Chin. And next, I'd like to ask Mr. Ning to share his story, please.
Thank you, Mr. Han. Good afternoon. First, I really appreciate that the organizers of this forum and session give me this precious opportunity to introduce my work and my organization as well. My name is Ning Jie, and I'm from China. I am the program officer of Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat. I joined this organization since October 2016. My organization, Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat, is the international organization established by the governments of China, Japan, and Korea in 2011 in September. I'd like to show some PPT slides. I think the staff is helping us to do that. The TCS, my organization, is the, thank you. TCS is the outcome and the fruit of trilateral cooperation. As you can see from the PPT slides, the trilateral cooperation between the three countries started in 1999, more than 20 years. And actually, with this development in 2010, at the third trilateral summit among the leaders of the three countries, the Korean side proposed to establish a permanent secretariat to support this mechanism. Actually, the meeting was held here in Jeju. Agreed and by all the three countries, TCS was established in 2011. With the development of trilateral cooperation, you can see from the PPT slides, it has developed during the past 20 years to trilateral summit meeting and the 21 ministerial meetings, including trilateral foreign ministers meeting, education ministers meeting, etc. And more than 70 intergovernmental consultations, mainly Director General and Deputy Director General level meetings, and more than 100 non-governmental cooperative projects. For my organization, we established more than 10 years. This year is also the 10th anniversary of my organization. I'd like to give you a very brief introduction. We have the consultative board members, including one Secretary General and two Deputy Secretary General, appointed by the governments of the three countries. And we have 4 departments: political affairs, economic affairs, socio-cultural affairs, and management. The working language, we are using English as the working language, but in the office, everyone can hear Korean, Chinese, Japanese every day. And our budget is equally shared by the governments of the three countries. The function of our organization, as we were started from the trilateral cooperation, so our main function is to support the governmental mechanisms. We are now participating in 16 trilateral ministerial meetings out of the 21. We do follow-up projects together with the governments, and we promote public understanding and awareness of the trilateral cooperation among the three countries. And we work with different international organizations, including UN, Asean, and EU organizations. And we also compile database and conduct research. Our statistics covers a lot of data among the three countries in different areas. If you are interested, you can visit our website. Specifically, my Department of Socio-Cultural Affairs, we are doing in these areas shown by the PPT. The 6 ministerial meetings we participate, including culture, tourism, health, personnel, administration, sports, and education. Besides, we are also supporting local government exchanges, youth exchange, and media exchange. Let me give you some examples briefly. There's a Campus Asia program, which was established in 2011 by the Ministry of Education of the three countries. This program is for college students, including undergraduate students and graduate students, to exchange, to have dual degree or have joint degree. For TCS, we are tasked to support the Campus Asia Alumni Network by the Education Ministers meeting. Because we know that this program has been developed during the past years to 20 consortia, including 65 CGK universities and ASEAN universities. So more than 9,600 students graduated or participating in this program now. So our role is to establish the network for those in different consortia, in different countries, to communicate and exchange with each other. So we also just organized a seminar last month. The other one is the Young Ambassador Program. Every year, we invite talented students of the 3 countries to join this 2-week program, to have seminar, to have group work, to visit the cities in Korea, to experience. And we visited Jeju a lot to experience the culture and beautiful site of Korea. This is a similar Trilateral Youth Summit also for students exchange. It was organized by the 3 foreign ministries, but now from the 2019, it became our role to promote this. And both the YP and the TYS, we plan to have them within next year. And for YP, we're now preparing it. Hopefully we can release the recruitment at the end of this year. Besides, we are not just initiating programs, we are also supporting those existing programs that has been organized, managed very well in the 3 countries. This program, Asia International Youth Film Festival, which started in 2004, also a very successful platform for the young students who want to be directors in the future. So we participated and supported this program since 2019. And you can see from the slide, the newest one was held from May to June this year, despite the COVID-19 situation. And the next one will be held in China as well. Besides, we also have some exchange programs for journalists, because we know that media and journalists play a really important role in molding the trilateral relations. So this is also an annual project. This year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we also held it online and offline format. Besides, we also published the Trilateral Common Vocabulary Dictionary, which incorporates more than 600 Chinese characters still being used in the 3 countries. Some of them have different meanings because of the culture. So it's better this TCVD has been welcomed by the universities and schools. We have distributed more than 1,000 copies to the organizations of the 3 countries. And this is the basic introduction of my work and my organization. And if you're interested, please visit our website. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ning. And well, I'd like to invite Ms. Hyun Jinjoo. Next, please. Okay.
Thank you for the invitation and the introduction. And what I do, I'm working for KOICA, Korea International Cooperation. Yeah, my slide is ready, or yep. It's okay. Yeah, what I do is international aid sector, and I'm working for KOICA, Korea International Cooperation Agency. It's government agency to support developing countries for their social and economical development. And I've been working here this sector for 12 years. And as you can see the slides, I've been working in the several field offices in Bangladesh and Timor-Leste, and I was back into the headquarters and had some office job, meetings and invitations and seminars. And I can say this all the activities or the tasks are all around development projects. I think to assist developing countries to get approval from Korean government, and once the budget or the project confirmed, we roll and manage the project and monitor and evaluate the project in the field. Next. This is the few examples I've done. On your left, those pictures are for the printing center, national textbook printing center project I've done in Timor-Leste to publish the national textbook for the students in the Timor-Leste, and we nurture the technicians as well. And on your and the freshwater projects are up. And the last one is the Provincial hospital project in the Philippines, and I plan to renovate the hospital and expand the function of the hospital to more cover infectious disease or respiratory disease such as TB, tuberculosis. So it's done, but I heard the news last year to fight against COVID-19 in the Philippines. So that hospital could be on the front line, because now the hospital can cover more about the contagious disease and respiratory disease. So that was the happiest moment. And in my organization, COECA is contributing the prosperity and the world peace through the development project and the cooperation with partner countries around this sector, the sector: education, health, governance, agriculture, and technologies and environment sector. And the representing programs are development project and consulting, and invitational training, and humanitarian assistance, and multilateral and partnership programs with many organizations. And its headquarters is in Seoul, and we have 44 field country offices in the world. And half of its budget and the field offices are into the Asian-Pacific region. Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, Mr. Funaki over there, it's your turn to introduce yourself, please.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the kind introduction. It's a pleasure to talk with all of you this afternoon. I'd like to thank all organizers, including Korea Foundation, making this extraordinary event possible. So good afternoon, everyone again. My name is FUNAKI. I'm a program officer at the Japan Center for International Exchange, which is non-governmental and non-profit organization, dual-based in Tokyo and New York. So within the organization, I'm currently in charge of US-Japan political exchange projects, especially for young political leaders in both countries. I also cover bilateral policy dialogue, such as Korea-Japan and Germany-Japan. So I'd like to introduce a little bit about my affiliation, Japan Center for International Exchange. So let me quickly share the screen. Can you see that? Okay. All right. My organization is, as I said, it's totally a non-profit and non-government organization. It was established in 1970. And then the founder is Mr. Tadashi Yamamoto, who is regarded as one of the pioneers in the international exchange field. Our organization is started as an organization for promoting US-Japan relationships. But after that, we broadened our field. Currently, we have three main pillars within the organizations. The first one is the strengthening Japanese external relations. It's kind of including democracies and then diplomacy, security, trade. And then second pillar is contributing for global issues, especially we are focusing on global health, including infectious diseases, of course, in the COVID-19 currently, and then some aging issues in Asia. As you know, Japan is the most aging country in the world. So we try to share our experiences with other Asian countries. And the third pillar is promoting a more diverse societies. So currently in Japan is facing depopulation issues. So we have to seriously discuss migrations. And also the gender and the civil society, it's empowering the civil societies is quite important in current Japan. So I'd like to touch upon the Korean-Japan relationship. So we started the Korean-Japan project, which is called Korean-Japan Intellectual Exchange Conference in 1977, which was quite rare at that time. So at that time, Korean-Japan relations only by governmental and then also business sectors. But it's kind of the non-governmental or intellectual type exchange is quite rare at that time. And then after that, we covered various types of the exchange program with our Korean friend until now. And then from 1993 to present, we co-host the annual conference called Korean-Japan Forum with Korea Foundations. And then this conference is established between the agreement of the summit meeting between then Japanese Prime Minister Morihiro Hosokawa and the Korean project at that time, the Kim Yong-sam in 1992. And then this year, we will hold the 29th Korea-Japan Forum by TV conference this coming December. I think, as I said, we organization covered many various kinds of fields, but time is limited, so I stopped here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, there seemed to be a small mistake when we first start. Well, I think Miss Chan in Singapore, you just said hello without introduction of your affiliation, Singapore International Foundation. Okay, why don't you do it again, please?
Thank you.
The slide
Thank you
is.
so much.
Yeah.
I hope the tech will work for me. Let me try to share screen and introduce a little bit more about the Singapore International Foundation and our work in nurturing young leaders for a sustainable future. Okay, you can see my slides. So at the Singapore International Foundation, our job is to make friends for a better world. We are a people-to-people diplomacy agency, and the aim really is to strengthen ties and trust between the people of Singapore and the world. We believe that we can enhance mutual understanding and strengthen trust between global publics when people work together to effect positive change. So all of our programs enable our vision and provide opportunities for world communities to come together to do good. We exercise 3 forms of people diplomacy. They are the diplomacy of deeds, cultural diplomacy, and digital diplomacy. And all our programs are designed to engage influencers and change makers. So these include policy and decision makers, opinion shapers like journalists, like some of the speakers shared before, and next generation leaders like youth entrepreneurs. Our work is focused in these 4 key areas where we think Singapore can contribute to enrich lives and effect real change. We have arts and culture, where we harness the unique power of the arts for impact goals. Business and livelihood, where we support social purpose businesses to solve real-world issues faced by different communities. We also have education and healthcare projects that help to lift standards of healthcare and education around the region. The SIF's cultural exchange programs connect Singaporeans and global communities to promote greater mutual understanding and promote collaboration for social good. We know that the arts, in particular, transcends boundaries of race, language, and even borders, and they are a powerful source to empower communities and build inclusive societies. So this is the premise on which we encourage collaborations between Singaporean and international artists, and we galvanize greater community involvement for sustainable change. One of our signature programs is the Arts for Good Fellowship that brings together an international network of artists, art administrators, and social sector professionals to create a community of practice that uses the power of arts and culture to create positive social impact. And through various Arts for Good projects supported by our foundation, we promote international collaboration on arts-based initiatives that serve to empower and uplift communities. We also organize the ASEAN Youth Fellowship in partnership with Singapore's National Youth Council. And this is an exclusive leadership development program for young ASEAN citizens between the ages of 27 and 35. And we connect these emerging young leaders across the people, private and public sectors in ASEAN. We expose them to thought leaders and innovators and inspire them to be the leaders of the change they want to see. Under our Good Business program, we connect Singaporeans and world communities through social entrepreneurship. Here we launched the Young Social Entrepreneurs Program in 2010 to inspire, equip, and enable young change makers to embark on social enterprises in Singapore and beyond. This program provides capacity building workshops, customized mentorship, networking opportunities, and grant funding for the most outstanding ideas to launch or scale up. And during the pandemic, we had to pivot to a fully digital program for the first time to continue nurturing young global change makers. We have also been heartened by YSE alumni that have adapted their businesses to continue supporting communities through the pandemic. So for example, Ikodo is a social enterprise in Indonesia, which provides e-commerce to help local artisans increase their income. And they started to reskill the artisans to providing protective personal equipment or PPE to medical officers in need. Other social enterprises have also used their platforms and partnerships to do good, like providing hot meals to underserved communities. So at the 10-year mark of the YSE program, we commissioned a study to look into the impact that it has created over the years. We found that the social return on investment was 3.91 for every dollar invested. That's almost 4 times. Social enterprises received significant support and they achieved growth after participating in the program. And 75% of the youth that came in were able to transform their ideas into social purpose businesses. We see an average growth of 268% over 3 years among those that started their social enterprises. We now have over 1,300 young change makers in our global community. They run over 600 social enterprises and represent 42 countries. The majority of them, of course, are from Southeast Asia, India, and China. They create social impact in various sectors of work, such as agriculture, education, healthcare, and increasingly, we are enabling enterprise ideas in the areas of environment, climate change, sustainability, and digital solutions. So over the last 11 years, we have awarded some 790,000 in grants to 47 different social enterprises. We're really happy to note that 86% of the winning teams remain in operation and continue to deliver social impact over a range of sustainable development goals. So some of the YSE winning teams are like Water Roam from Singapore, and they provide a portable water filtration system, giving clean water to rural and disaster-hit communities around the region. We have Hatch from Singapore, which empowers youth from different educational backgrounds with digital skills and job matching services. And Nura Farm from Indonesia, which aims to improve farmer income and productivity through artificial intelligence technology for farming. So for those of you who are interested to take part in this WISE-E program, we look forward to hearing your innovative ideas and business solutions. And you can register your interest here using this QR code and contact us through the registration form. And if you're interested in the work that our foundation does, feel free to get in touch with us, follow us on social media, and thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Chen. Thank you, all speakers. Okay, it's been very interesting and also very informative about to know more about our speakers and their affiliations. Okay, let's elaborate on our conversation more, covering more specific topics concerning international exchange, okay? Well, Ms. Chin, I understand that you started your career as a diplomat with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Singapore, and now you are working at the Singapore International Foundation. And what happened? You changed from the ministry to a public foundation. So, my first question is that could you please briefly describe your career path, including your major and personal interest? And it would be very ideal if you could add the reason why you chose to be in this international field. Please, Ms. Chin.
Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. So I started my career in Singapore's civil service at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs before moving on to manage maritime and port development policies at the Ministry of Transport. So subsequently, I moved to the non-profit sector and I worked for several NGOs in humanitarian aid in Bangkok, focusing on education and psychosocial support for refugees. Finally, I returned to Singapore and now I've been working at the Singapore International Foundation for about 3 years now, promoting international exchanges for youth leaders, social change makers, and arts practitioners. My personal interest and the common theme through my career is looking at global development through the lens of international relations. I've always been interested in seeing how people connect with one another, learning about new cultures and languages, and personally, I like to understand political influences on different social and humanitarian issues that we face. I like to look at how we can mediate differences and bridge cultures, and also now how to promote sustainable development on a global scale, given all our different abilities that countries can bring together. I think that international exchanges are really critical to forging common understanding between people and formulating joint collective approaches to really create impact that will solve some of the biggest challenges we face today.
Okay, Ms. Chen, thank you for your kind answer. Well, she mentioned that her personal interest is global development through a collaborative efforts, and international exchanges are crucial to forging common understanding and collective approaches to global issues. Okay, thank you. And next, I'd like to ask this question to Mr. Ning also. Why did you choose to be in this field, and whether there are any differences in your views toward this international exchange field? From before and after you joined this field. Is there any difference? Okay, please.
Thank you, Ms. Tom. I feel very happy today to see all speakers today. Before coming here, I studied both in China and Singapore. So nice to meet you, Ms. Chen. And from your PPT, I even saw some people I know, some of my professors. Before joining this area, I studied political science and Asian studies in universities, obtained to master's degree. My personal interest is about international relations. So I'm very happy that when I studied in Singapore, the RSIS of Nanyang Technological University gave me this chance to closely communicate with diplomats, government officials, IO staff as well, to give me the chance to know what they were doing. So after graduation, I was so lucky that I could join the TCS. But before and after that, as Mr. Ham said, there is quite a lot of big difference. Before I came here 5 years ago, my understanding or impression about Korea and Japan, I think the most information is from internet, from media, not from my personal experience. So when I came here, during the past 5 years, I became to know there's the findings that because of this position, I not only have the chance to promote the cooperation among the three countries, but also personally, I have the chance to learn the experience the culture of Korea and Japan as well. So based on this understanding, it helped me to better promote what I'm doing now. So I really appreciate that this position has given me to better understand, because when we talk about the three countries, although we're close neighboring countries, but we don't understand very well about our neighbors. So I think that's why we need to do international exchange, to invite different people, especially young people, to come here to join different activities, to personally experience the culture and to learn different things. That will help us to better understand each other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ning. Now we understand that his learning experiences in Singapore led him to better understand international exchanges and to pay more attention to Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat, for which he is now working. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ning. And from these two speakers, we've heard about their major interests and personal views on international exchange. And now I'd like to ask Mr. FUNAKI and Ms. HYUN whether there are any best moments in their career in this field. Okay, Mr. FUNAKI, could you please share your best moment, or this can be a best practice, biggest achievement, or most memorable moment to be shared with the young generations interested in this field, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ham. I'd like to share the best moment, my experience. So as I said, I am in charge of the political exchange, especially for the US-Japan Young Political Leaders. So we have a program called US-Japan Young Political Leaders Exchange Program. It is more focused on younger, less than 40 years old, younger generation political leaders in both countries. So we exchange the delegation once a year. It was 2017 US delegation visited Japan. We took them to the Hiroshima prefecture. As you know, Hiroshima was the place US dropped the atomic bomb. And then they took a tour at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum guided by atomic bomb survivors. So, before that, we had many briefing and discussions in the Japanese and politicians and the specialists about security issues in Tokyo. They are quite concerned about China and then of course Korean Peninsula, and then also there are they quite stressed the importance of the nuclear securities. So I was really a little bit worried about their reactions to their survivors, atomic bomb survivors in Hiroshima. But then after the dialogue with the survivors, they all said that expressed their determination to abolish atomic bomb, regardless of their Democrat or Republicans. So I really thought that the touching real voice or seeing the kind of the real kind of testimonies is quite important for all of the young generations. So of course we did not have any intention to change their opinions or anything, but they really felt that they need the denuclearizations and after the dialogue with the survivors. So it was quite impressive moments. So earlier, the importance of the promoting dialogue through international exchange is that's our the most important role. So I'd like to share this experience with young people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Funaki. Well, we know that Hiroshima was where the atomic bombs were fallen for the first time in World War II. And I think he told us a touching example of mutual understanding through international exchange. Thank you, Mr. Funaki. And next, please, Ms. Jinjoo. Okay, next, please.
For me, it's hard to say one best moment in the field, but my first field visit is in 2012 in Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste is an island country in Pacific region, located in between Indonesia and Australia. And I took the director in charge for some reasons on my 4th years in this career. So it's totally over my capacity. It's overwhelmed me. I used to be the officer in charge of a project or a specific task before that, but at that time I had to determine and manage a team and hire colleagues and think of their salaries and everything. So I had to learn everything very quickly, and I tried to think like a leader and act like a leader at the same time. I don't want to. I don't want to say the getting higher position is important, but working like an officer in charge, but thinking like a leader or understanding the view of the organization you are working and the full responsibility. That experience is very valuable asset for me, and that was my best duration, not the moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hyun. Well, she told us her experience in East Timor as a country director in charge for 3 years, and we could a little bit feel her difficulties there at the time. Thank you. Well, thank you for your very valuable and interesting experiences. Now I'd like to hear about their thoughts and ideas on a couple of topics concerning the international exchange. Okay, the first question, this question goes to Ms. Chin over there, and Mr. Funaki and Ms. Hyun, okay, in this order. Okay, what are the biggest changes or challenges you have confronted, including but not limited to the wake of the pandemic? How did you or your affiliation try to overcome this or turn it into an opportunity? Ms. Chin, you first.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. I think definitely the biggest challenge is related to the pandemic. We can't really avoid that because previously we could bring people together face to face for in-person exchange programs and interactions. And now having to move to the online space during the pandemic and even currently, I think that has been the greatest challenge because we know that it's a little bit more difficult online to create friendships and form bonds and really get to know another person. So we had to find creative ways to enable network building, enable people to form connections, make friends. And there were so many technological platforms, new ones, that we had to navigate. And the learning curve was very, very steep. But when you ask about opportunities, I think that the online mode can also provide a lot of opportunities for us, especially when we think about how our programs can be more accessible to people around the world. So if you imagine in Southeast Asia, we have almost 600 million people. And a recent report states that 75% are going online now. And this figure, of course, increased during the pandemic. So people are doing a lot more e-commerce, shopping, purchasing, as well as interactions online, attending courses, and so on. So I think in the ASEAN region alone, there would be around 60% of our population that are comprising young people under the age of 35. This is about a 383 million population of youth. And young people are digital natives. They are very familiar with the online spaces and are very adept at navigating it. So I think that this really presents us with an opportunity to expand our audience if we can create meaningful experiences through online interaction. All it would take is for someone to have a device and a great internet connection to be able to participate in our programs. So I think that the digital transformation has really leveled the playing field and provides a great opportunity for organizations that promote and changes like we do.
Okay, very good answer. She mentioned the biggest challenge is having to adapt their programs to the online modality. Accordingly, the learning curve was very steep, of course, but she added studying how to engage audiences online can be an opportunity, not a disaster, okay? And then, and she added that all they need is a device and great internet connections for people to participate. We can take it as a chance, not a hindrance or other things, okay? Thank you for your mention. And next, Mr. Funaki. Funaki, please.
Thank you very much. It's quite similar to Mr. Chin, Ms. Chin. During the pandemic, so breaking through our conventional idea to other international exchange is kind of our biggest challenge. So we are very long. We have very long history, but of course we experienced, many difficulties. And then overcome them. But, we never thought that we have to stop the face-to-face exchange. So as long as we get caught up with conventional idea or past experience, we could not move forward. So we stopped, counting we cannot do. So we just, think a new way to, move things forward. So, 3 C's is kind of our, mottos to, getting to, move, things forward. So first one is challenge. So positive challenge to new things with proper understanding expected risks. And then also creativities, clarifying issues we face and then thinking out of the box to solve them. And then third one is the communications. So more constable communication to our partner countries or our counterpart organizations or each participant with emphasis. So I think online we could find the possibilities online, and then we have confidence to utilize the online space. Not the replacement of the face-to-face, but it's kind of the new possibilities to create very sustainable international exchange, the way of the very sustainable international exchange. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Funaki. Well, he suggested 3 C's to overcome our challenges, including pandemic, which are challenging creativity and communications. Okay, and I think it's a good suggestion. And next, Ms. Hyun, please.
Yes, I would like to raise a minor issue, but which probably we speakers commonly experience, because to make balance on work and personal issues is difficult while working in this international field. Yes, we know. 한국말로 하겠습니다.
From now on, I would like to speak in Korean. If you work in the field of international cooperation, you have a lot of business trips to take, and you have to spend several years in field countries, and sometimes you have to spend time being separated from your family members.
Family safety or health issues. So, 예를 들면 코로나.
For example, after the pandemic, I myself experienced this. I was asked if I can work in Bangladesh with my 3-year-old sibling, because this means I have to think about a whole new different things. I do have a passion in my career, but as a person and as a mother, it is difficult to make easy decisions over these types of problems. In this regard, all the international organizations, including COICA, has a lot of HR issues. And I don't think there is a permanent solution we can employ to solve these HR-related issues. So we do have some physical limitations, and indeed, digital transformation helped ease these barriers, but somebody has to stay in the field, and some countries don't have that digital connectivity. For example, some developing countries. So someone has to work in the field, and someone has to work as a bridge between the advanced and the developing countries. So with the technological advancement, we can overcome large part of the physical limitations, but then I think we cannot expect perfect solution to all these physical limitations that we have.
She pointed out that to make a balance on work and personal issue, personal life, is sometimes very difficult while working in this international field. Okay, good point you made. And well, okay, next question. This question goes to Mr. Ning and Ms. Chin again. Okay, please share your forecast on how the international exchange environment will change in the near future, and what factors will affect or even rule the new landscape of the future. Please, Mr. Ning.
Thank you, Mr. Han. As the panelists just mentioned, that the COVID-19 pandemic has given a lot of challenges and obstacles for today's international exchange, no matter you go abroad or the visitors come here. For me, based on my experience, I think despite these differences or challenges, that we should know the kind of core role or the values for international exchange. As you know, I'm working for the Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat. The staff, the officials there, they are from the 3 countries. For some issues, we might have different perspectives, but we clearly know that we are working together for trilateral cooperation. And so that means the mutual respect and the sincere communication always serve as the core values for future's international exchange. Let me give an example that I've experienced during the past years. Besides what I've just introduced in our programs, there's another program called Trilateral Story Exchange, Children's Story Exchange Program, managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the 3 countries and education ministries. These participants are really young. They are primary school students. They participate in this program for more than 10 days. They study together, they play together, and they cannot speak English. They communicate through interpreters. But after, they are from China, Japan, Korea. But after 1 week or 2 weeks, they became friends. Before ending the program, they hugged each other. Some even cried. And since this program has been organized for many, many years, some alumni has already worked, but some of them still maintain very close communication. So this is an example that we can set aside or shelf some differences, but if we work together and kind of to mutually respect each other, this will be really good for future international exchange. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, he mentioned a good example of the cooperation between three countries. Well, and next, Miss Chin over there. Hello. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I do agree that basically, I think international exchange should promote mutual understanding. People, as long as they're willing to keep an open mind and learn about another person, another culture, another society, I think that's definitely the core foundation of how exchanges can be transformative. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what the new normal or the post-pandemic normal will look like for us. But I do agree with a previous speaker who said that there are some aspects of the in-person exchanges that the online space will not be able to fully replicate. But I do hope that people remain open to learning about different countries and cultures, whether it is online or in person. And even though we know that different external factors can play a part in how much attention people can pay to this aspect of development, I think it is important because all types of exchanges should achieve the fundamental goals of building friendship between peoples, creating greater understanding and opportunities for people to work together for a common good.
Okay, then, well, she's not sure what the new normal or post-pandemic normal will look like, but mentioned the possibility that many forms of international exchange may transit permanently into the digital space. Okay, she also believes that the exchanges on social entrepreneurship, the arts, mental health, climate action, education, and so on, they will be on the increase. And then, thank you, your point. And then, well, as the last chance, last question to Mr. Funaki and Mr. Ning and Ms. Chin. Okay, question is, what do you see as the core role or value or the ideal direction of international exchange? Would that change depending on the era and other variables, or would it stay the same regardless of external factors? Mr. Funaki first. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think the most important role or value of international exchange is connecting human to human. So as I said, I'm in charge of the political exchanges. So sometimes we see the big differences or unfilled kind of the group, especially when some negative, political factors which deteriorate popular sentiment happen. So, however, international exchange can open the way to establish, personal relationship among participants. So beyond any kind of the, any kinds of disputable factors. So those, personal relationship supports interstate relations, overcoming changing times and or some other various external factors. So especially it's important for younger generations. So I every year in the Korea-Japan Forum, as I said, we host it with the Korea Foundations. So we have to discuss about very difficult issues between two countries. But we also have the Korean-Japan Junior Forum as a side event. But those young generations beyond is current very difficult issues. So their view is more like long-standing and future-oriented. So I really, every participant really, hope to, continue the those, good relationships among the future generations. So I think, international exchange is always, based on the human-to-human, to building the human-to-human relationships. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you in that the most important role is connecting human to human, and international exchange opens the way to establish personal relationships among participants. And those personal relationships supports interstate relations. I agree. Okay, thank you. And next, Mr. Ning, what's the role of the international exchange?
Yes, thank you. As I've just mentioned, that nowadays for the international exchange, people who join this kind of programs, they are from different countries with different cultural backgrounds and educational backgrounds. So this kind of how to promote this kind of mutual understanding is really important. It should start from mutual respect, to think about something from others' perspective, not only from your own perspective. That will help each other to better understand. So for my colleagues, we are from different countries, and for some issues, we have different perspectives. But that cannot stop us from working together with each other. And that is always, so for people who are doing international exchange, I always put that in my mind, that listen to others, what's in their mind, not only express your own idea, to respect others. That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, he thinks that mutual respect and sincere communication serve as the core role of the international exchange, especially when dealing with controversial issues between. Okay, and next, and then the last, Miss Chin, what do you see as the core value of the international exchange, please?
Thanks. I do believe that the core value should be firmly placed on enhancing mutual understanding between people of different countries, different cultures, and different perspectives. And of course, we know that international exchanges pursued by various countries can take on some national or political agenda. But in any case, there has to be something fundamental that ties everyone together. I think that going forward, more of these exchanges will be based on specific interest areas, increasing concerns, for example, on mental health or youth activism, people interested in climate change getting together to think of a solution, education, and so on. And these exchanges, especially among young people, I think will become more robust, stronger, and I do look forward to more of these going forward into the future of global development.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Your opinions, okay? Well, next, I'd like to ask all our speakers for pieces of advice which he'd like to share with the young generations who might be dreaming of their future as experts in this international exchange field. Okay, why don't we ask in reverse order of the first presentation? The FUNAKI first, Ms. HYUN, Mr. Ning, and Ms. Chin. All right, am I fair? Okay, then could we begin with Mr. FUNAKI first? Okay.
Thank you very much. So I think, we always try to make an effort to be free from any kind of the prejudice or preconceptions or stereotyping That's, I think, the most important point through my experience. So we should avoid judging each person through their nationality, religion, or affiliations, political, or any kind of background. So those factors, I think, to prevent us from building mutual understanding in international exchange. So in order to avoid that, we always bear in mind keeping open mind, open mind and open heart dialogues. So please try, to hear the person person who has a different idea from yours. So and then always, get out of your comfort, and then try to touch with, very diverse, communities and persons. So even in your countries or in your communities or in your, among your friendships. So that's my advice. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. His advice is keep open mind and hot dialogue, right? Between. Okay, Miss HYUN, what's your advice?
Yes, the young generations ask me a lot about how do I join KOICA, or is this helpful to join a UN agency or not? Like this, very specific question. But I should say international cooperation field is full of opportunities and full of jobs. And it is not one single narrow elite, but thousands of strands from various background and various talent. So just go for it and do what you want. Yeah.
Okay, do your best, right? Okay, thank you. Well, next, Mr. NING, what's your advice?
Thank you. My advice is very similar as Ms. Hyun just mentioned. It's based on lessons I've learned before finding jobs. It's not a good experience, but a lesson. So I'd like to share with you. If you want to find a job in this area, to make preparation as early as possible and try different things. That is really important. Because for students, we need to focus on our study. We also need to find opportunities. If you want to do some work like in government or non-government sectors or IO, just try it. There are a lot of this kind of opportunities of internship when you are a student. So do not hesitate, just to try it and to apply, because usually these internship programs will only last several months. So based on your personal experience there, for these 2 months or 3 months, you will know that whether this kind of work is suitable or not for you. It's much better to make preparation earlier, not until graduation you find a job and you found that it's not suitable and you regret for it. That's a little bit late. So please make preparation early. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ning, very, very good and practical advice, I think. Prepare as early as possible and try every moment and you'll get it, okay? Thank you. And lastly, Ms. Chin, what's your advice, please?
I think my advice would be for young people to keep an open mind. Like what Ms. Yoon said, there's no one track to where you want to go. I myself had a very diverse career path from government to non-government to now being in a non-profit sector. So I think that there's always learnings you can gain from different jobs that you have. You don't exactly have to land a specific role that you want immediately. What's important is to keep an open mind, try and take the skills that you have from different jobs, put it together, and the very basic foundation has to be that you really want to pursue this for a bigger purpose. And what's that purpose? You try to keep focused on that purpose and don't give up.
Okay, thank you. Of course, it depends on jobs and whatever, but the basic step is keep an open mind. That's her advice. Okay, well, originally I'm gonna have a Q&A session after this talk if we have some more time, but we have 40 seconds left. So well, we have to finish on time, or can you have some questions from the floor, from the audience? Do you have to finish right on time? Okay, then. I think I heard the message. It is possible to have a couple of questions from the floor. So if you have any questions, raise your hand, please. And then there is a question online, or let's check. There is some questions through online. Okay. Okay, then. Okay, because of the time shortage. Okay, let me conclude. Okay, then. Well, we have, I think, very fruitful and interesting and informative talks with the 4 speakers today. To me, this session has reminded me of my past and also of my passion that led me to my job for the 30 years in this international field. I think it's always a pleasure to share experiences and insights across generations. Indeed, that's one of the most attractive parts of the international exchange. I sincerely hope today's session has provided our young generations with new insights, shining a light on possibilities for them as they explore their future in the international exchange. In closing, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all our 4 speakers and audience members once more for joining us today. And thank you very much. Thank you.